Hello folks and welcome to a very exciting new series. We are going to be checking out the Vive Pro 2. It's finally made its way over to me. I'm so excited. But I want to say straight off the bat, guys, that I've seen a lot of VR sort of YouTubers out there review this from a gaming perspective. I think I'm going to show something rather different because this is going to be from a flight simmer's perspective. Don't really consider flight simulation as a game. It's more of a serious hobby, really, a very rewarding but very complex hobby where you need the latest powerful computers and God knows what. It's a tricky business, but us flight simmers, we spend a lot of our hard-earned cash on things like this. As you know, I have the Pimax 8KX, the Reverb G2, and the Quest actually as well. So all different headsets from different price points. It's going to be interesting to see where this fits in with that sort of array of VR headsets now. Of course, high resolution is the name of the game now. And in fact, in 2021, I feel field of view and 2022, I think that's going to be the big thing. And this boasts a pretty decent 120 degrees field of view and 2.5K per eye. So it actually on paper beats the Reverb G2. So with that in mind, guys, I just want to say also, this is going to be my raw first impressions. You're going to see my sort of thoughts as they happen, because I know many of you really enjoyed my Pimax 8KX video where I literally just tried it on and it was a rough and ready video. That's going to be the same here. We're going to basically, I'm going to unbox it. I'm not going to show you that bit. That's boring. And you've seen that many times on other YouTube channels, I'm sure. But I'm going to just see what it feels like, how comfortable it is. And then I'm going to try those lenses for the very first time on camera. And then we're going to jump into Microsoft Flight Simulator in the Flying Iron Spitfire. Oh my God, I love that plane. The very latest version. And I'm going to test it out. And I'm going to give you my honest, raw impressions. You can be guaranteed of that. So with that being said, guys, pour yourself a drink. Pull up a chair and let's go and find out together what this thing has to offer for us flight simmers. See you in a moment. Okay, so without further ado, we've unboxed the Vive Pro 2. She's been unleashed, and here she is. Drum roll, please. There she is. Wow, look at that. So obviously, straight away, as I'm sure you already know, the design of the Vive Pro 2 hasn't really changed much over the years. In fact, it hasn't changed at all, if I'm honest. And that's a little bit of a disappointment because, of course, anything new, it's great to have a refresh of the design so that it feels desirable. Case in point is the Focus 3. Now that is probably one of the most desirable and beautiful looking headsets I've ever seen. And I'd love to have seen that kind of design with this. But having said that, I can understand why they've kept the design the same, particularly when you think about the Vive tracker and various other modules which fit directly and can be interchangeable between different versions. And that could be quite useful for you guys if you are upgrading from your existing Vive. So I can see a for and against for both. And to be honest, it's not a big deal for me personally because I'm not going to be looking at it that much. I'm going to have it on. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. Now, since it doesn't seem to be very much different in its design, I'm expecting it to be as comfortable as the original Vive Pro. And is light. It feels so light, this thing. Probably one of the lightest headsets out there right now. But anyway, without further ado, let's just try it on and see how it feels. Here we go. Let's get the head strap out of the way first. Adjust the back and then slide it on. And yeah, straight away. I mean, even coming from, say, the Reverb G2, which is actually quite a light headset, this feels super, super light. I mean, I'm moving this around like crazy. I'm not going to be doing this at all, but, I can do it. And it is incredibly planted. The design of it works really well, and I suppose I can forgive them for keeping this same sort of, with the head strap and sort of like the padding. In fact, the padding feels really, really nice. Not probably because it's a new version or whether the padding has changed, but I must admit it does feel incredibly comfortable. And of course, you've got these sort of speakers here, which I'm also intrigued to see how they are, whether they're any different or improved from the originals. I think the padding's different, actually. Yeah, the padding has been changed, interestingly, from the original Vive Pro as well. That feels really nice on the ears, actually. And yeah, I can already tell that it cancels the surrounding noise out more as well. So a nice little design touch that I haven't heard anyone mention yet. on any of their videos. Right, anyway, I'm just looking at a black screen right now. That's no good. So what I'm going to do is take it off and we're going to check out what those incredible screens look like when we power this thing up. So I'll see you again in a few seconds. Okay guys, so welcome back yet again. I hope you've got a drink. I've got mine. It's just a nice cup of tea here. And basically the first thing I need to do is actually download the Vive Pro to setup. So you need to go to vive.com UK setup Vive Pro 2 for that. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. It's going to download and we're going to click OK. Stuff's going to happen, which will be quite boring. But as I say, this is a raw first impressions and that's exactly what it will be. Although I will edit it a little bit, so it's not going to be about 1,000 hours long because that would be bad. So basically all I'm going to do now is download this software. My internet is so slow that I'll come back in a moment when I can see whatever it does next. And yeah, see you in a moment with the power of editing. It'll be all finished in 3, 2, 1. Here we go, guys. Are you ready? We're in. And here we are. Okay. Okay, so first of all, my very first feeling and impression is that, yeah, the vertical field of view is squashed down big time. It kind of feels like I'm looking at a sort of 16:9 aspect ratio, which I was not expecting. Now, bear in mind, I was using the Reverb G2 prior to using this on purpose because I didn't want to use the 8KX because that's got a crazy wide field of view. But yeah, this isn't. This is okay, but I'm not blown away, if I'm honest. I was kind of hoping for a bit more than this. And I can't use the control at the moment, so I can't really... Hang on, let's see if it'll work. But in terms of the resolution, it's very, very nice. I'm sorry, I'm doing this at the moment, if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing. Because I want to check out the sweet spot. Which isn't very good either. Oh, this is a shame. That sweet spot is tiny. Like I'm looking at the Vive port video icon there, right at the bottom of my recent apps. If I look at my recent apps, I can't even hardly read that, and that's a massive piece of text. The Vive port video app I'm looking at now, sorry, the writing even. As soon as I move like that, it gets blurry. That's sharp. Blurry. Let me just make sure my IPD is correctly adjusted here. If I can find the knob thing. Hang on a second, there it is. I do like this granular design. Yeah, it actually is as well. So it's at 64mm, which is my IPD. Now the resolution when you're in the sweet spot is very nice. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I have to say the colours are every bit as good as a Reverb. I'm interested to see what they're going to be like with sort of the the black levels and things as well. But I don't know, it just feels I know what it is. I think it's glare I'm getting as well. There's sort of blurry glare where the sort of on my peripheral vision and even quite close to the sweet spot, which is causing it to be a bit difficult to get a clear image. Ah, this is a shame, actually. Now, if I look at the sky, there's absolutely zero screen door effect, and the optics, in terms of looking for Mura, which is sort of like fogging on the lenses, absolutely nothing there that I can see. Yeah, that is super clear. That's way clearer than the Reverb G2. But I'm a bit shocked by this field of view. I'm wondering whether it's this pad, guys, because this doesn't feel like 120 degrees at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove the main face cover. I'm going to put a VR cover on because I do have a couple kicking around. So I'm going to try one of those. and I'll get back to you. But first impressions, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by this. So good points, fantastic colours, beautiful. The screen itself, in terms of sort of the no mirror or anything like that, but the optics, they're quite glary, and the sweet spot is incredibly small. You know, you guys who moan about the G2 sweet spot, this is smaller. This is actually smaller than that. But these are my very raw impressions, guys. My feelings right now could change, but this is my absolute raw reaction to this headset. It's incredibly comfortable, the colours are superb, and as I say, absolutely just clear picture there when I look at a sort of plain background, but the sweet spot is tiny, and the field of view is a little bit underwhelming for me right now. But I'm going to try a different face pad, so give me a few seconds and I'll see you again in a moment. Right, so I'm back now, and what I've done is I've changed the face pad to a VR covers one to see if I can get a bit more field of view. Now, this is actually a Quest 2 really thin pad, and I'm hoping that might actually help. So here we go. By the way, I have noticed that the IPD range is really, really good on this headset, by the way. I don't know if you'll be able to see that when I put the headset on. Hang on a second. I've got a massive head, guys, and Melissa's just tried it, so I'm going to have to readjust it. It's all part of the fun. First impressions. Here we go. So we've got that on now. Okay, yeah, that's made a massive difference. Absolutely, that's made a huge difference to the field of view. It feels a lot bigger now. That's really nice. Okay, that's a relief. So the headset doesn't feel quite as comfortable now, though, unfortunately, with this thinner pad. But that just shows you that VR covers will have a market for this headset. This now feels a lot wider. This is what I was kind of expecting. The vertical field of view is a lot better as well. So that's great. And the sweet spot as well is also, it's not amazing still, if I'm honest, but it's certainly better because my eyes are now closer to the lenses. So everything is now bigger. Everything's larger. Okay, right. Now we've done that, guys. I'm now going to jump into Microsoft Flight Simulator in the beautiful Fly9 Spitfire. Take it for a spin. And I'm going to sort of see what my first impressions are, how it feels, you know, actually using it for what it's designed for. So see you very soon, guys. Okay, so welcome back, guys. We're now in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is the Fly9 Spitfire, the very latest version. And on purpose, I'm using the Vive integrated microphone. And I'm not going to continue using it for the rest of this recording, you'll be pleased to know, because it really is pretty damn awful. And it's such a shame on such a high-end headset that the microphone seems to be forgotten about. So it's that awful that I'm going to have to find another way of showing the rest of this video. So don't worry, I'm going to now change microphones. See you in a few seconds. Okay, so we're back now, and I'm now using what is called a mod mic on my headphones, which is a completely wireless solution, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm going to fit that on the Vive Pro in a future video so I don't have to wear headphones, and you can do that with this amazing device. But anyway, getting back to the headset, yeah, I was quite shocked how bad the microphone is. It's such a shame, but we'll just move on from that now. The actual display inside the Spitfire here. Now, I'm using the Fly9 Spitfire because this is the single most incredibly high crisp textured aircraft that has ever graced the skies in Microsoft Flight Simulator, bar none. The incredible texture work is at a level that I've never seen with any other aircraft, period, at this point in terms of the video. So, and there's been a massive update to this aircraft, including engine simulation physics, what I love about Fly9 Spitfire is that they've just kept quietly in the background updating this aircraft. It is an absolute masterpiece now. The flight dynamics and everything is just beautiful. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to see what it's like in the Vive Pro 2, also with that wider field of view. So with that being said, what does it look like in the headset? Well, it absolutely looks beautiful. I'm going to put in some through the lens footage in now. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, and probably likely it won't be, but in the very center of the display, it's absolutely crystal clear. It's as sharp as the Reverb G2 without a doubt. It is very nice, and the colors, the gorgeous colors. Do you know, I think the Reverb G2, I mean, that's got fantastic colors, but this feels better. And I don't know what it is. I think sometimes the Reverb G2 has immense colours, but I just feel like this feels a little bit more natural, a little less saturated. I'm being mega picky here, guys, because I mean they both look really, really good. But yeah, I just think the colours in this are the best I've seen to date. But I'm sighing, guys, because I feel frustrated. The thing is, in fact, I've been talking to Sebastian from MRTV to help me out with this, because I haven't owned an Index, and he says the optics are very similar, and there's a lot of glare in this headset, and I'm trying to work out if that's what I'm seeing or whether it's a small sweet spot. But I think it's both the small sweet spot and the sort of glare that I'm getting is working against each other to bring a sort of very difficult sort of visual sharpness. I can't really see the center. I can see it through the glare, but it's hard to sort of see past it, and it's a shame. It really is, because I can see the potential here hugely. This panel is absolutely beautiful, and against the Reverb G2, the panel itself is better because you don't get any mirror. That display, as I'm looking, because you really, you can really capture any mirror by looking at a plain background like the sky, and it is absolutely pin sharp, and there's just absolutely zero screen door. It is gorgeous. Also, I have to say that if you do buy a Vive Pro, the first thing you must do is just basically get rid of the foam pad and replace it with a VR cover one. I'm using a Quest 2 got quite a thin pad here, and it really is giving me a much wider field of view, which is really nice. The field of view is most definitely bigger than the G2 now that I put this on, but I mean, you saw by my first impressions, when I first put it on with that foam pad, I was deeply underwhelmed. It felt really enclosed, and Melissa said the same thing. But now that I've got this on, in fact, already as I'm talking, I've just gone out the sweet spot. Hang on, there we go, that's it. Just went slightly out the sweet spot there. But anyway, one thing I have noticed as well is a motion reprojection of the HTC internal software through the portal settings is really good. I've got it on now. And of course, it'll look crap on the mirror, but it's actually working. I don't know what frame rate I'm getting, but at the moment I've got my resolution set at ultra at 90 Hz, render scale at 100%. All my settings are on very, very high in this sim. We're going to take this incredible, beautiful, exquisite bird that is the Fly9 Spitfire for a spin around White Waltham, which is Burning Blue Design's new airfield as well. As you can see, we're so spoiled, aren't we, with this sim? Literally, we have got so many gorgeous add-ons. And I'll put all those links in the description below if you're interested and haven't bought this yet. If you haven't, why? Because it just is amazing, especially in VR. But, right, I'm not going to bore you too much with the startup process. We'll get this bird started up because this is more about sort of the Vive Pro. And I will see you as we taxi out. Now, Fly9 Spitfire has very bravely gone where no other tail dragger flight model has gone before in Microsoft Flight Simulator, because many developers at the moment are shying away from making their models too difficult. But Fly9s have really modelled the Spitfire ground physics very well, and to the point where I can't actually, since the update, it's quite difficult, to say the least, to get her off the ground. And that's good. That's a good thing, okay? So you're going to see a very awful takeoff right now, okay? But I am working on it, and that's part of the enjoyment of owning such a beautiful aircraft like this. But for now, we're going to take off anyway, regardless of what's going to happen. Told you guys. Oh my god. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that, but it's okay. We're going to get airborne anyway. And I'm going to give you my impressions. Oh my goodness me. This is, yeah, of the headset. Now, I have to say, let's just get airborne first, and then I'll start talking. Concentrate. Oh, this feels very lively. Now, this is only going to be a short flight, guys, for my first impressions, but I have to say I've been using the headset now for about 1 hour, and it's getting very hot in here. It's getting extremely hot. I can feel those displays. They're really heating up like no other headset I've tried. I know the Reverb G1 used to get quite hot, but the G2 doesn't have that issue. I can be in that for hours, but I must admit, on a hot day, this is going to be a struggle being in this headset. I have to say though, the overall impression, I'm a little bit underwhelmed at the moment. I have to be honest. There are a lot of good things about it as well. The screen colours, oh, they're absolutely beautiful, guys. Really beautiful colours. The panel is absolutely gorgeous. And the sweet spot, unfortunately, is small, but it is very nice when you're inside that sweet spot. The headset itself, if you didn't have to wear stupid headphones, if the microphone worked correctly, is really super light. In fact, it's the lightest headset, bar perhaps the G1, that I know of for some time, even the CV1. But this, and the field of view as well, was very strange for me to start with, because of that face pad. I just think perhaps, because it's got great eye relief as well, this, you can mess around with it. It's got a button here, so it's great for glasses wearers. So I don't know why the face pad was so far away from the lenses, because once you install the VR covers one, it is a lot better, and that field of view is much better than the G2. In some ways, this is kind of a very nice middle ground between the sort of exotic 8KX and the Reverb G2. It's kind of like a nice middle ground, but there are definitely some drawbacks that I was not expecting. It's quite hot, the sweet spot is tiny, and there's a lot of God rays. Even in the daytime now, there's a bit of, it's probably even chromatic aberration I'm seeing here with the panel, which is a great shame. But you know what? I think it's something that I could probably get used to. Whether you should get used to that with a headset that's, you know, on sale for £650 odd or whatever it is. I just lost track in them for a second, but it's back again. I am using one base station, by the way, and it's running very well indeed, actually. You know, I think if you've got original Vive Pro, this is definitely still an upgrade, because the Vive Pro, the original one, had a small sweet spot anyway, so it's no worse than that. And you get that incredible panel. Is it worth that extra bit of field of view? It's not massive. I was hoping for a bit more, and I certainly was not getting it with the stock pad. I think you're going to be a bit disappointed if you try it right out the box. Got a little stutter there actually, but I am using the capture of my camera as well, which does hurt frame rates as well as recording. But even with all that going on, the frame rate is absolutely brilliant. I'm actually in motion reprojection mode, so I must be at least getting 45 frames per second, which probably doesn't sound a lot, but for a 2.5K per eye display in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is not yet optimized, this is feeling pretty damn good. So one thing I do like, and that's you don't have to look so far to the left and right to get that field of view. Now if you're looking at something particular that was really pin sharp, you know, if you're looking at text, then you will need to move the headset as much as the G2 because the sweet spot. But if you're just getting references like the wing, I don't have to move my head so much. Honestly guys, it's quite hard going back to the G2 after testing out headsets like the 8KX and this headset. Field of view now, it feels like the norm. It has to be at least 120 degrees. I don't think I'm getting quite 120 degrees here though. I can't say for definite. I feels more like 115 if I'm honest, but that's still much wider than the G2. And if you are craving that G2 resolution with a wider field of view, but the 8KX, which, you know, let's be honest, it's amazing, but it is very, very expensive. This is a possible middle ground viable purchase. But the headset is getting hot. It's getting quite hot. But the performance is so good as well in the sim, especially with this VR cover. We'll do one more pass here, guys, and I think I'll finish the video here because, as I say, this is the first impressions and I've given you quite a lot of information to think about. I'll do my best to be active in the comments as much as possible. But we have been in Microsoft Flight Simulator testing out the Vive Pro 2 for the very first time with the Flying Iron Spitfire. Oh my god, this is such a beautiful aircraft. I'll put that in the link in the description below. Look at her. She is beautiful. And the screen in this headset does look really, really nice. I'm so pleased though that I had a VR cover on hand to try it out, because it really does. It actually feels worse. When I put it on, I felt more enclosed in the headset than I did in the G2. Crazy. But as soon as I changed the foam pad, it was much better. Right, I'm going to go off into the sunset now and enjoy this headset a lot more. Give you some really good hours in this so I can give you a good conclusion. I will be testing this out in DCS like the other headsets as well. Maybe X-Plane as well. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you want to see? But thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, I'll see you again on the next one. Bye bye for now. Take care. What a beauty.